Fans, welcome to Sports Chat. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode. We've got a lot to talk about, including some UT football, spring game having, some UT basketball, got a big recruit, got some high school track, some high school tennis to talk about today, new basketball coaches, a lot of big changes in the air in Campbell County.
Yeah, since we were here last week, lots of stuff happened. You know, UT had a spring game yesterday, and well, it was not a good day for the offense. The Orange team, many thought would win. They had Bray starting at quarterback, had the best receivers. Arguably, Derek Rogers was on the other white team, but you know, people thought the Orange would dominate, and they got dominated.
It was the Rajon Neal show, from what I understand, during a lot of the offense.
Yeah, he had 100 total yards receiving and running the ball. I mean, really nobody did that well on offense overall. Dooley wasn't really all that happy with it. Of course, he's not been very happy in the entire spring for the most part.
Of course, you know, there's not been a lot to be happy about offensively in the spring. And offense is always going to be behind the defense starting out.
Yeah.
Defense is just easier to learn.
It was just really bad weather yesterday, too.
Yesterday was terrible.
Really cold, very, very high winds. Just, you know, Bray's a California guy anyway, and I'm not sure how well he handled the cold, and especially that much wind.
It was tough, and you know, they had a cornerback come out kind of nowhere, and
Justin Coleman, he was a pretty highly thought of recruit, but not the, you know, the most well thought of. But he had a really good spring game yesterday.
said he did well against Justin Hunter. Hunter, of course, had an outstanding freshman season.
Hunter's good, and a lot of people, you know, they're complaining Bray's apparently in a mode where he was just chucking it down the field to Hunter anytime anything went wrong. So he ended up 5 for 30.
Yeah, it's easy for a quarterback to get in that mode, starting out especially. That's something we can't afford to happen once the season starts. I don't care if it's against Montana or whoever.
Oh no, that's really nothing you want to see, somebody lock on a receiver like that. But, you know, in his defense, yeah, see, it was extremely windy, but you got to play through that.
We're going to play some windy games. I'm sure especially cold, windy games come to November.
Derek Rogers, I think he's the best receiver on the team. He was on the white team, and he caught a touchdown from Sims, the first one of the game. So that helped him out. Sims was 6 for 13 for 90 yards. He didn't exactly light it up either. So, you know, nobody on offense did. Hopefully that gives us some good hope for the defense.
Well, you know, defense, easy for defense to be progressing along this time of year. You know, we actually have some experience on the defensive. We're not deep, but we've got some experience on the defensive line now.
Honestly, one of the things that encouraged me a little bit was the fact that the defense did so well. You know, they got a little pressure and stopped the pass a little bit. Did decent against the run, but I'd say it's a spring game. You never know.
Also, UT, Conzo Martin on the basketball side has signed a guard.
Yeah, he signed. Well, I'm not sure he signed. He got a commitment.
Got a commitment from a guard.
And Richardson, he's not really highly rated right now, but he's apparently one of these people who came on like gangbusters in the spring. Really athletic. Just, you know, good combo guard, 6'5", 200 pounds, plays good defense. You know, anybody helps right now.
That's right. I mean, we still don't know what the future holds for Scotty Hobson. I'm still banking on Tobias Harris being gone.
A lot of people, you just get different reports. Some people say that Harris is going to stay. Some say he's gone.
I'd love to see Harris stay. I mean,
There was a report out of Nashville, which is not being confirmed. It was on a national TV station that he was staying. Now, I say it's not being confirmed. I'm not sure how good the reporter is, how valid that's going to be.
Right. You know, and also in the Vols front, the Lady Vols softball team doing pretty good. They had a good week.
It was a good day yesterday for Tennessee overall. The baseball team swept Alabama on a doubleheader yesterday.
Of course, it's, you know, good for the baseball. It's always good to beat Alabama, period.
Alabama's usually got a really good baseball team, too. I'm not sure how well they're doing this year, but, you know, anytime you can get a win against them, I'm all for that. I don't care if we're playing unintended ones.
That's true, and with a baseball team, you'll take just about any win you can get.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if Tom Raleigh weathers the storm this season. We are in the cellar. right now.
It's possible that he will, but there's so much coaching upheaval going right now. I'm not sure if the AD's willing to risk another firing just for baseball. That's just the way they look at it. Baseball's not a big revenue producer, so they might be willing to keep riding it out for however long they can.
You see maybe if Conzo Martin can take a little heat off.
Yeah, that's really a pretty big one right there.
Yeah, Martin could determine the future of Mike Hamilton.
Well, I mean, to
At
say
this
this
point.
for Martin, he got Wes Washburn, the guard from Iowa. We needed a point guard really bad. He got one. Maybe it's about as good as one you can get this late in going.
And he's not the dynamic personality Bruce Pearl was, but yeah, he's doing what he can right now. He's
No way he's going to be Bruce Pearl again around here. We had one maybe 35, 40 years ago with Ray Mears. They don't come along. Coaches, by their nature, are very conservative people.
That's true.
In their public dealings, and it's rare to have one that's really outgoing like that.
and Bruce spoiled us for about 5 years there with.
Yeah, it was a good run with him, and you're just not going to see that very often. I mean, he will be a good guy. Conzo will. He'll be a good coach, I believe, but I don't think he's going to be, painting his chest and
Probably not. He's
saying he's going to kick Florida's butt, and kick Memphis's butt, and all the different people he said that about before the game. At least not to the public.
I really hope at least he keeps the tradition of the Orange Blazer.
Yeah, he might. I'll be surprised, honestly, if he does, just because it's so associated with Pearl now. Even though
True.
to older fans, it's associated with Ray Mears. He might. Hopefully, he builds a good rapport with our past players like Pearl had. Pearl brought in Bernard King back to the program, Allen Houston, everybody.
And it's good to see that. Now, Martin may be a good fit to bring some more of those people back because of his NBA experience. Not that we've had tons of NBA players come out.
No, but he can build bridges maybe.
It would be nice. I would actually like to see him honor Don DeVoe at some point in the near future.
DeVoe, he's been really deep in the program lately. He was it seemed like he may have gotten a job in the UT athletic department lately.
Now, Don DeVoe's he's near and dear to my basketball heart at UT. He was the first coach I remember.
When I was a little kid, DeVoe, I don't really remember the Mears era. I was only maybe 4 years old when Mears quit. I can remember early DeVoe team. I was a huge basketball fan when I was really small. And I loved listening to John Moore broadcast the games.
Oh, yeah.
When I was a kid, I remember we had success we actually won the SEC tournament. I think the last time we won the SEC tournament was under DeVoe. Maybe 1979. Reggie King.
Oh, yeah.
Reggie Johnson. Then we ended up with players like Tyrone Beeman, Dale Ellis, Willie Burton, Michael Brooks. That was players we had when I was a kid. You never hear from those players anymore, and I see those guys come back to the program.
Like literally the only DeVoe player you ever hear from is Kevin Nash.
And Dale Ellis, he had a sterling NBA career, and he was an NBA All-Star. He was as good as you could get at Tennessee. I think Tobias Harris could be another Dale Ellis if he sticks around.
I would love to see Tobias Harris stick around, get a little more seasoned. Actually go in as a high lottery pick. Like he potentially could.
Here's the reason that I think that he's probably going to go to the NBA this year. And all the top picks right now are saying they're coming back to school. Soldier from Ohio State said he's coming back to school. Jones from Kentucky said he's going to come back to school. Just a lot of people that are freshmen this year that were expected to be lottery picks are saying they're coming back. So that moves him up that far.
That does, and yeah, it's hard to say to a kid that age, don't take that money, don't take that glory.
Next year, if he comes back, he has to deal with all those sophomores that are freshmen this year that come back, plus all of next year's hotshot freshmen. So I wouldn't blame him for going. There's some NBA lottery issues with a lockout, possibly.
That seems to be the deal in professional sports these days in general.
Unfortunately, yes.
Now, of course, the NFL draft is looming, and it's
Yeah, it's a very uncertain situation. That's the best you can say about it. They may play next year, and they may not. I can't imagine them not playing because it's just so much money generated. But it's not been. It was in the late '80s, maybe.
I was in high school.
Awarded season. maybe 8-game season because of the strike.
And the worst part about that, the Redskins wound up winning the Super Bowl.
Well, we'll put an asterisk by that.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
I'm certain Dallas would have won.
had it been the real deal.
They may have went, really had a really bad year that year because that's around the time that Landry was fired.
Right, it was before the glory days started in Big D. But the doors are open for it to be a very interesting season for college football, just because of the lack of NFL. You could see a lot more interest in college.
Yeah.
People need their football fix.
It would be I guess a boon to the college game to some extent, but I can't imagine. The NFL generates something around $10 billion a year. I just can't imagine them giving that up.
I can't either. I mean, it's kind of a petty squabble at this point anyway. I understand the players want their piece of the pie. I understand the owners are trying to hold on to what they can, but they all lose if they don't have a season.
They all lose if they don't. And really, they're all extremely rich anyway.
Right. I mean, I would like to see some of the lower tier players maybe get a little bit of an upside. But again, I don't care if, I love him, but I don't care if Peyton Manning gets a raise because of this. Or
he's got those twins to care for now.
He does.
He's made a little bump in salary.
Yeah, speaking of UT legends, Peyton Manning, of course, he wasn't part of it, but yesterday at halftime they had the flag football game with several UT legends.
Yeah, I actually wish some of them still played.
They say that Al Wilson had a heck of a run with the ball from around about 30 yards and gained about 1.
I don't know if I want to get in front of Al if he was charged.
No, flag footballer, no. Al's a bit of a bull.
He takes things very seriously, so I'm sure he was determined in the game.
Of course, Leonard Little played in the game. He's one of my favorites from the Peyton Manning years. He was a beast on defense, period.
He may be the fastest defensive end we ever had up there. Went on to a long NFL career. Of course, didn't have a really good run up there a few years in St. Louis when he had the DUI accident.
But he overcame that, and Leonard to me is still a very dear part of the Vol football family. Next week, we'll be going to Tom Black Track over at UT for some high school track events. But this is big for anybody running in that, because you got the elite players that are going to be there. UT's coaching staff's going to be there. This could be.
Yeah, this is the opportunity to shine in front of those coaches.
There's a lot of talent. We're about to talk about some track. Yesterday was kind of a weird day in high school track due to the weather. It was an amended meet. There was no long jump or triple jump.
All that surface area was underwater.
My feet were very wet and miserable yesterday at the track.
It's one of those spring days. Apparently, when you go to that track meet, show up with every clothing from winter to summer.
Coach Brandon just referred to it as track weather. Like, it's really more like awful weather. But there was a river at Carnes.
And speaking of UT, the tennis team, the men's team won
the SEC.
They won the SEC championship yesterday. The women's team beat Georgia.
Again, it's always good to beat the Bulldogs. They're not quite the rival that Alabama or Florida is, but I do like to see them dogs go down. For no other reason, I can rub it in on Nancy Coker.
Yeah, that's always a good reason. That was good Saturday for UT. Footballs were flying. The baseball team swept Alabama in that doubleheader. Softball team won.
Tennis team won.
Tennis team men's clinched the SEC championship. It's hard to beat.
It is great to be a Tennessee Volunteer right now.
Yeah, it usually is.
Well, fans, this is about it for our first segment. We'll be back to talk about some high school track and other high school sports in the second segment. So our camera minion has disappeared, so I'm going to let John turn the camera off.
Always turn this camera off.
And we're going to try to be back soon with our next segment.